Right, they told me type. You need a new story, type. Your career's in the bin, type. So get working, type. That's what they told me, type. So I write. Happy holidays from the Writ, everyone. Welcome, fellow nerds. The Christmas day is just around the corner, so I thought I'd bring in a friend who's currently being attacked by a dog. Christina Eilert.
Hi, I'm very flattered that the dog loves me.
He certainly does, doesn't he? Hi.
Hi, Henry.
Yep, his name's Henry, by the way, listeners. Okay. Let me make sure.
In case you're wondering who Henry is,
yep.
It's the dog.
And in case you're wondering who this person is, you probably might recognize her from episode 13. She was the ghost.
A little bit more spooky.
Yeah.
You know, the previous episode.
I mean, I don't know. I think it was pretty spot on.
It pretty accurately describes me.
Oh, yeah. Like, you hate dorks.
I mean, since you're one of my best friends, I think that's...
It's true.
A little bit unfair.
Oh, man, you think I'm a dork?
I do.
Totally
I think you're a dork.
I'm totally a dork. Oh, well, thanks. I try. Okay. All right. Welcome to the show, Christina Eilert. Well, I did this with my previous episode where, what makes you qualified for the show?
Well, I enjoy writing. I have my degree from the University of Colorado in creative writing.
Oh, you're already more qualified than Matt David.
So I have published a number of different things, mainly self-publishing, kind of
Nice.
like you. But
Nice.
One of my favorites, which is of course what you helped me with, which
Right.
was my senior honors project.
Right.
I wrote my own version of The Onion, and my dear friend Matt here, of course, did a lot of wonderful Photoshop for that.
Thanks. I'm glad to help. By the way, if you can hear squeaking, the dog is playing with a squeaky toy. All right. Nope. I had a lot of fun with editing with those. Hey, come here, Henry. The wonder of editing will get rid of all this, or will it make it worse? There we go. All right. Anyways. Okay. Sorry about that. Keep going, Christina.
So I think we kind of are a little bit of a last-minute decision to record a podcast. So we kind of came up with something on a whim.
Right.
So hopefully you guys enjoy the content.
Well,
and if you don't, I guess, we'll go off of whose line it is anyway and say that it doesn't matter.
Exactly. It was your fault listening to it for 30 minutes, right?
So why don't you tell everybody what we're kind of going to talk about?
Well, actually, first we wanted to talk a little bit about, because we do have little segments of the show, and then I had this, maybe we don't have to do it as much, a little. Well, I guess we don't really have to talk about what will we rip off from this month, because we're kind of going to talk about that throughout the whole episode. But what have you writ? What have you at the writ?
That is a really good question. So, I would like to say that I've changed. So, I feel like I always describe to people as creative writing is kind of the degree that you get, and people ask you, well, what are you going to do with that? And you're kind of like, I don't know. It's not really something you can put to a lot of good use.
Well, I think...
in the professional world, unfortunately.
Right. Well, I had an English major and a writing minor, and I credit more... I mean, the degree itself, having a degree at all is great, and that's usually what jobs are looking for. But in terms of the actual specific degree, I credit to that more with what I've learned in the specific classes more than the actual degree itself. Like, I work at a specific coffee company. I'm not going to say what because specifics, I don't know. I don't want to get sued. But I often say, like, when they ask me when I graduated, and I say, like, oh, I did this, and I graduated with an English major. That's why I'm here. That's
right.
what
exactly.
I joke about. Because, but no, it's more about what you learn in those classes more than the actual degree itself, I think.
I think I thoroughly enjoyed all of my writing classes. Mm-hmm. I loved, being able to be in the classroom with fellow writers and bouncing us off of each other and have that constructive critique, environment.
Mm-hmm.
Found that really to be a very positive experience. But in my professional life, I have worked, to give you a little bit of a background about myself, I worked in a funeral home for about 2 years, and now I'm working in higher education.
And people were just dying to get in there. You've never heard that joke before, have you?
Insert the worst joke in the world about working at a funeral home.
Oh, yeah.
But, I think in my professional life, I think it really does suit me in that it helped me learn to communicate with people.
Right. Especially in times when they need it.
Exactly. And whether that's in a verbal communication style or a written communication, I tell people, you know what, I can write a very fierce email. And that's how I use my creative writing degree.
Nice, good.
In my daily life.
Absolutely. Well, since it's, I'm going to post this on Christmas Day, so you'll guys be listening to this on Christmas Day or later.
Merry Christmas.
Yes, of course, Merry Christmas. Or whatever.
Happy Hanukkah.
Yeah, whatever
Kwanzaa.
you celebrate. But since this will be December 25th, technically it would be Merry Christmas. All holidays do matter, right?
You can unwrap this one particularly on that day.
Right, exactly. So on the day of December 25th, the birthday of, is it Benjamin Franklin?
I don't know.
It's one of those guys. Remember there's some sort of, maybe is it Isaac Newton?
I love how we both looked at Jake like he would know.
Her husband is over here, listeners. He's waving. You can't see
Hi,
it.
Jake.
He's not waving, but
he's laughing and smiling.
Absolutely.
Henry's here too.
Oh, he's right next to the microphone. If you can hear breathing, that's where he is.
That's not me. That's the dog.
What, you can't get much more Christmas-esque than this. Like a married couple, one of their good friends, and a dog, just all having a good time.
I feel like we're ripe for a sitcom.
Oh yeah. Especially one of those cute ones, like Full House, like more so than ones with like a lot of pratfalls. I think. I don't know.
But since we're on the topic of Christmas, and this is going to come out on Christmas, we did want to kind of touch on
certain
some Christmas
or holiday themed works.
Themes.
Yeah, or just works, right? With certain things. Like your favorite holiday movie is The Nightmare Before Christmas, you've said.
It is. People ask me what my favorite Christmas movie is, and I'm not sure that it entirely qualifies, but I mean...
I think it's both. Christmas and Halloween.
Yeah.
It's equally both. Although Christmas forms the stimulus of the plot, and the Christmas is in the title, so of the two, it might be more of a Christmas movie. Even though there's a lot of Halloween in it, I don't know.
It's really hard to say.
I think it's just both. I think it's just
Oh dear.
Hold on a second. Through the power of editing, you'll never know any of this. You're free, Henry. Get out of here. I'll leave the door open though, so he can come back if he wants to, because he's trapped in the other room as well. All right, I'm back. Anyways. So,
Now, mine is The Nightmare Before Christmas, but how about you? I know you said you've got a couple favorites.
I don't know. I do like Elf. I know you're not really the biggest fan of it. It's because, Will Ferrell's humor is kind of hit and miss for a lot of people.
It's probably one of my favorites of his.
Oh, it is? Yeah, I can definitely see that. There's just a lot of, he's just so likable in it, I think. And
I think I became to like the movie more because you like it. Because... of some of the quotes that you've shared.
I do like it. Plus, Zooey Deschanel's in it, and she's always great.
She's cute. I mean, who doesn't like her?
Exactly. Oh, my sister, apparently, she doesn't like her in New Girl. And I'm like, why don't you like her in New Girl?
She's a good girl.
She is a good...
Forgive her for
Everyone has
small
flaws.
flaw.
Everyone has flaws, don't they? But no, I like that one. I know. I tend to like movies that kind of quote-unquote explain certain things about Christmas in a weird sci-fi-y way. Like, there was Arthur Christmas that came out a little while back. And it had a spaceship and time stopping things to sort of explain how it could go from one place,
how he can go around the world so quickly
in one night, yeah. Or
I always wondered about that.
Yeah, or
super speed.
Yeah, and he has jet engines on stuff, and I've seen other ones like that as well. Just add sci-fi twists to it. That's kind of cool. Make Santa sort of an alien or something. I don't know. I feel like
you've got something there.
Oh, I got some. Well, I actually have a few ideas for Christmas stories. One of them I think would be the Battle of the North Pole. I have this idea. I actually envisioned it first as a video game that I would create, but I've never gotten around to creating because I'm not really... It takes a long time for video games. And I make a few smaller ones, not to brag, listeners, but I can do a little bit of coding, okay? Who can? Anyone can, right? No, it's fine.
Not me.
I guess I am pretty brilliant.
Give yourself a little credit.
Oh, okay. No, I guess it's fine. Anyways, every December, the factions of the North Pole have to call a ceasefire for the meaning of Christmas. But the rest of the year, it's entirely just dominating these guys, being we gotta take over the North Pole, and Santa for some reason has always been victorious, and Jack Frost and the Candy King, I think was the other guy I came up with, they want that position of power, so they keep fighting them, and it's like a war movie.
But I feel like that kind of story is really in that kind of alternative history or alternative,
right.
Especially the alternative Disney is super in right now from somebody else's perspective. So
right.
If you were to do something from somebody other than Santa's perspective, I think it would be a great hit.
Well, I think so. I also think it'd be kind of fun, because it's a Disney movie, but I think it'd also be kind of funny if it was one of those silly R-rated action movies, kind of like Kingsman. Like, I think it could work in that kind of style. Like, just make it super bloody, but, like, with candy canes or something. I don't know. That'd be kind of...
I could see it as, like, an animated movie.
Yeah, that as well, too, yeah.
Like one of those, darker animated films. I've always found that those are...
Oh, yeah. Well, you've always liked those. You like, as well as Nightmare Before Christmas, you also like Corpse Bride a lot.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm just a Tim Burton
Yeah, you
person.
really like Tim Burton. Except for Alice in Wonderland, right? You weren't really a fan of that one.
Yeah,
either.
that was the one that really didn't hit for me.
Well, I mean, to be fair, even though it made $1 billion worldwide, it didn't hit for a lot of people either. And so when they made a sequel, it bombed. But to be fair, they made it 6 years too late. So
there's quite a gap there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but yeah, so I guess we could talk a little bit about like what makes a good Christmas movie depends on the person. Well, like, what are these sort of elements you kind of want? Because a lot of Christmas movies nowadays are really subversive about, like, oh, look at how stressful Christmas is, and look at how, like, crazy it can be, and look how, like, aggravating it can be. It's all about, like, mocking the consumerism aspect of it, the materialistic aspect of it. The last, I think, genuine, heartwarming, feel-good Christmas movie, pure Christmas movie, I think might have been Elf. And that came out 14 years ago, so...
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the more recent movies that I've seen, they're family drama or comedy or, like, poking that fun at just the stereotypical aspects of Christmas.
Right, exactly. Like, Four Christmases.
That's the one I'm thinking about.
Yeah, like, that was all about the stress of it. Like, what else? I'm trying to think. I've seen a few others. There was just released a sequel to Bad Santa for some reason. Like, recently, last year.
I've never seen the movie, so I can't really speak on it, but I still don't understand... Yeah. I feel like I'd give it a chance, but I'm like, that just seems terrible.
But apparently it warranted a sequel, except it didn't because the sequel bombed. Because speaking of sequels too late, that one came out like 14 years too late or something. Like,
yeah, I guess they just... I kind of get... Speaking of, like, writing and movies, and I know we're getting a little onto the movie specifically.
Right, there's other ones, right? Yeah.
Like, the feeling like you need to come out with another sequel rather than come up with a new and original movie. It's really I kind of get over it. Like, I feel like they've taken sequels to an extreme. I mean, like, I think of, like, Shrek. I'm like, man, really? You made, like, how many of the same?
There were 4 Shrek movies, several TV specials, a Broadway show, many video games, and a Puss in Boots spinoff, which actually wasn't bad, the Puss in Boots spinoff, in my opinion.
I love Shrek. Nothing against Shrek, but it's like, how many can you make?
There was also, speaking of Christmas, there was a TV special called Shrek the Halls, because of course there was.
Of course there was, yeah. I feel like when it comes to Christmas, like, anything is kind of...
Fair.
Doable, yeah.
Even stuff like before. I think it's funny, like, to do stuff that's like way before Christmas, like Flintstones doing Christmas or something.
I feel like you kind of have to. It's obligatory. If you've got a popular TV show, movie, you have to like do something Christmas themed or related.
Well, yeah, one of my favorite TV shows is Phineas and Ferb, and the whole concept of that is in the summer. But even they've had a few Christmas specials because they just make it not that episode not in the summer, or there's like some sort of crazy invention makes it snow, and I don't know. There's like ways that they work around it. So.
That's absolutely correct. Yeah, I like that show too.
I got you into it, so
a lot of good stuff. I love it when friends introduce you to something.
Well, you've introduced me to Asian food, and
I'll take credit for that, I guess.
I mean, just saying it's a back and forth sort of thing.
I mean, but Pei Wei, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say specific names.
I mean, you can. It's just if you worked at Pei Wei, that'd be different. But you didn't say what funeral home you worked at, so
yeah. Well, we won't. That's the funeral home that must not be named, but
right because everyone's dead there now. It's a graveyard. It's cursed.
That would be kind of exciting, though. Really.
How would that work? I wonder.
I mean, of course, you'd have to have an Indian burial ground underneath the funeral.
Oh, absolutely.
That's how it works.
And then was that the original cemetery?
Yeah, that probably would be the original cemetery, and then they started burying other people on top of it. And...
crazy white folks with all these Native Americans.
I feel like that's how it works. So it's like a Stephen King reference.
Oh,
there must be something buried on an Indian burial ground.
Well, like my grandmother's house, I joke about it was built on an Indian holy ground because...
and gives life everlasting.
Yeah, exactly. Because everything that has lived in that house has lived way too long. Like, I won't get into specifics, but a dog from that house lived 18 years.
It's not a bad problem to have.
No, I know. Well, it got to the point where even the car that they had there lasted so long and was such a good little runner of a car. It was like a really old car, too, but I don't know. Anyways, Christmas. That's what this podcast is about. Or, like, this particular episode, anyways.
I feel like you invite a woman to the show, and the way I describe men and women, and it kind of made sense to me when I heard it from the first time, is that men are more like waffles when it comes to conversation. They kind of, stick to their little pod, their little square. And women are just spaghetti,
Hold on, sorry, I have to deal with barking dogs. I dealt with this last episode too. Dogs, why do you keep doing this?
Should I say it again?
I mean, yeah, probably.
Men are waffles and women are spaghetti when it comes to conversation.
So you're talking about like men, like it's a very gridlock sort of set thing, and women just go everywhere at once? Or?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of start talking to a woman and you're like, well, how in the world did you get from this topic to that topic? And it's like following the spaghetti on your plate. You're not really sure which one's connected and how you got from this to that.
That's a good analogy. I like that.
But men, they kind of stay in their little thing, and then they move on to the next topic.
Right.
And that's the next square.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, Matt Seibert especially is like that. I'm a little bit more loose about it because I was raised by 3 sisters and no brothers, right? And so, like, a lot of times whenever I talk to you, we could talk for hours about nothing. And then whenever I'd call Matt Seibert, Matt David, sorry, I did this last episode with, but Matt David, and I'd call him, like, I just want to talk. And he was like, okay, about what? I'm like, just wanted to say hi. About what? Okay, what? What's the point, Matt? I'm like, I just wanted to talk. Okay. I couldn't do that when I could with you, right?
It's true. I mean, it's just different genders, stereotypically,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So,
Jake, are you that way?
He's kind of girly.
I'm more like a fettuccine kind. Not quite spaghetti, not quite waffle, but a fettuccine.
I don't know what a fettuccine is, but I think I get what you're going with.
It's a thicker noodle.
I think you are a fettuccine.
Yes, he is a little thicker than I am.
You're a thick noodle.
Oh gosh, that was a very dirty joke.
Wasn't it? Yes. A little limp noodle would be a dirty joke.
Okay. Anyway, back to Christmas.
Back to Christmas.
Now that we're all blushing here together in the microphone.
Alright, so...
It fits in with Christmas. We're all red. It works.
Well, yeah, I guess that is true, doesn't it? And, like, there's a lot of feelings at Christmas. And that's one thing I think Christmas movies of any kind should have is all about, like, what's the word I'm thinking? Empathic sort of thing about it. Because, like, whether positive or subversive, I feel like Christmas is all about emotion. You're like...
Yeah.
It's all happy and heartwarming. You're like, ugh, really? Either one is an emotion. I think any holiday-themed story you want to write probably should have emotion to it, like real emotion. Whether good or bad, it's a very emotional time of year. It means a lot to a lot of people. So.
And I feel like it's very passionate, only because it's such strong emotion. It kind of lends itself towards the passionate side of things, whether it's family and drama, like we talked about, or, anger or resentment or happiness, joy. It's all range really of emotions.
Well, there's a meme that someone shared. It's like there are 2 types of people this time of year. One, and it shows like Buddy the Elf being like Christmas, and the other one is that king from Lord of the Rings being like, so it begins.
I would have to classify myself as kind of the latter.
Well, I'm a little bit myself too. Like, I love the family aspect of Christmas. I cannot stand the materialistic aspect of Christmas,
which, like we were talking about earlier, just one of our favorite Christmas movies, of course, is The Grinch.
Right. Well, that's definitely the character I relate to the most.
Yeah, I think both of us. So, which is odd because we're both very, I think, in general, cheerful people.
We don't have ants in our smile. We're not as cuddly as a cactus.
Maybe
how's that
slightly
song?
More.
Yeah, we're as cuddly as a hedgehog. I don't know.
I'm not sure how the song goes.
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. I don't know. It was like you have ants in your smile.
Your
heart is full of worms. No, that's
your heart's a sinful sock or something.
Yeah, something like that. Heart full of worms would be too realistic as like tapeworms.
Oh, that's true. Heartworms.
Yeah, or that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's. Oh, here we go.
What the heck is? Oh.
A heel.
A heel?
Keep
playing it, Jake.
Oh, there you go.
Mr. Matt.
Hey. Greasy black peel. Dr. Seuss got away with words. He really does.
I mean, I'm not sure I'd like to be described as a banana with a greasy black peel.
Yeah, see, none of that applies to us.
But I think, just in general, I'm not ready for Christmas until about a week before Christmas.
I feel like, though, I'm not as active about my hate as the Grinch is. I'm not going to try and deny other people's fun by, like, trying to stake all their decorations.
But I can't deny that I, like, sometimes look at other people who are really happy about Christmas, and I'm like, ugh,
and they twitch your finger in that way that he does. Remember, I don't know, like the cartoon, like woo, woo. You can't see us, listeners, but we're like moving our fingers, but we're just like looking down at the who's celebrating all the.
But I mean, the way that he changes, I feel like that kind of happens to me every year. And I like that transformative And I feel like that's a big part of Christmas literature
Right.
in general, is that transformative action that happens within a person.
Right, and like he changes because he realizes that Christmas is not just the materialistic stuff. He stole the materialistic stuff. He got rid of all the trees, he got rid of all the presents, got rid of all the decorations. He made this big effort, and then when people still celebrated Christmas, he was like, "Wait a minute, there is more to this than that." There's all the he grew to like it because of the family aspect of the get together sort ofness about it. He liked the emotion of it, not the materialistic stuff. That's why he's a relatable character, you know.
Yeah, I think a lot of us kind of that's where we're at, you know.
Right.
We just it gets too much about the money, and like even if you go to the mall this time of year, it's like people are about almost hitting you in the parking lot, and then yet they're shopping to spread cheer to their family, and it's like, what about other people?
Yeah, here's some fun. They make you want to kill yourself. Christmas facts about this sort of thing. Americans spend $30 billion a year on Christmas presents for their pets.
Whoa.
Now, since there's only 300 million people on Earth, that means on Earth in America. I'm not one of those folks who thinks America is the only part of Earth.
I mean, that's just where we live, so from perspective.
I meant like in America. There's 300 million people in America, so that must mean there's what's math? I'm not good at math. That's like
Jake, we need math.
Is that $10 per person, or is that $1,000 per person?
What was the numbers again?
All right. Our fact checker listeners. All right, 30 billion divided by 300 million. Is that 100?
But I think we're at more than 300 million. But that's a good
like roughly, yeah. Isn't that 100? Listeners are like yelling at us, like it's 100 or whatever.
Yeah, that's okay. You can yell it at the computer. Let us know what the number is.
I think it's 100. So that means that on average, every American spends $100 a year on Christmas presents for their pets. Now, considering a lot of people don't spend that,
pets or don't even have
that probably means there's some very spoiled cats there who get thousands of dollars worth of Christmas presents, get diamond collars.
Exactly, there's some cat like a
I imagine it's like a cat for some reason. I feel like
because I feel like cats are inherently like the snobby,
right? And they'll probably still stick their nose at it.
Like, here's your diamond crusted tiara and collar and dish,
and you put it on him, and he just looks like he wants to kill every one of you because that's what they do. They always look so grumpy. I'm much more of a dog person.
Yeah.
In my opinion. I mean, like cats, whatever.
What's not to like? I mean, I guess the slobber.
The slobber, the farts. But that just makes them endearing. You know?
It does.
In my opinion. I don't know. Okay, so here's another thing that's depressing about Christmas. Well, it's not really a fact. It's more like just, at my work, the coffee shop that now will not be named, but you all know what it is. They started playing Christmas music the day after Thanksgiving. Black Friday is when they started. Since Thanksgiving was the 23rd, that means that they started playing it on the 24th of November, which means that's a month and one day.
Full month of Christmas music,
yeah.
Which for some people, I guess, is really exciting, but I'm sure you've got some kind of hell of Christmas music.
Oh, yeah, plus I work there all the time, so we hear many repeats.
Exactly. I feel like that's the worst thing about working at any type of a store.
Right.
You're just going to hear the same music over. And that actually did happen to me at the funeral home, too.
You played music at the funeral home?
They did. They played music at the funeral home very quietly. But it was still on the loop.
Oh, I'm assuming... was it death metal?
I mean, that would have been actually pretty cool, but no.
No, I know. I was making a pun. Right.
So, yeah. I feel like the inner goth on the inside of me had to work at a funeral home and had to have, Nightmare Before Christmas is a favorite Christmas movie.
It's a good one.
It is, yeah.
I didn't grow up with that movie like a lot of people did. I saw it, I think I first saw it when I first went to college, so I had no nostalgic attachment to it, but I still really liked it. I still thought it was very entertaining to watch, you know? I
watched it as a child, but I thought it was actually really scary.
Well, that part of the end is really scary.
It is. It's kind of scary. I mean, he gets shot out of the sky with, basically cannon.
I thought that was cool, personally. Oh, wow, this stop-motion movie has cannons, like AA artillery. That's pretty badass.
It is.
They shoot him down with it. I think the thing would be more scary would be the snake, the giant snake that some of them get to eat the tree, or the gift that's just a head, or
right? I mean,
all the various creepy gifts that he gives them because he doesn't know any better.
Could you imagine having a Christmas like that? That's just terrifying.
Well, yeah. I wonder what they were like the next year.
I mean, you'd be kind of hesitant to open your gifts the next year.
Yeah, there'd be a couple people PTSD on Christmas.
That's what I was gonna say. What are the lasting effects of this? The ripples.
Well, if they heard those anti-aircraft cannons, there might be people already with PTSD who just got it even worse. Not to ruin that movie for you.
No, but I mean, it's when you really dig into it, it's a little bit off.
Well, I think it's also funny that the policeman has to assure people we're still trying to figure out where Santa is. Santa is not only real to kids, but a lot of times in these kind of movies, Santa's only real to kids, and adults don't really believe in him. They have to kind of like be reminded or whatever. Like they don't believe they've lost the magic of Christmas. But in this movie, he's a public figure.
Yeah, yeah. Like I mean, he's not only real to children, parents, but like
he's just
everybody.
He's a real guy.
Yeah.
Like the police are out trying to find Santa, and then everyone's concerned, like, where's Santa? Like everyone, kids, adults.
I mean, I'm not even sure who you would even like relate that
the
to
Pope.
in this day and age. Yeah.
I mean, I think at one point I remember reading that like there's like a Catholic sort of robe that was like very traditional, but it's the Santa robe. Now Santa, of course, adopted this, like the sort of course it makes sense because Saint Peter, was an actual person, or no, Saint Peter, Saint Nick. That's what I meant.
Yep.
Yeah, Saint Peter was also a real person.
That's true.
But I meant Saint Nick, like Saint Nicholas was a real person, and like. But at one point, I think one of the popes tried to wear this, and people just kept comparing him to Santa.
I mean, you look like Santa.
With the red coat, yeah, with the fluffy white lining.
I mean, what do you expect?
It's true.
I feel like you can't try to be Santa unless you're like, trying to be Santa, like at the mall or whatever. As long as you're a guy. As a woman,
that's what I'm saying.
I hope I wouldn't look like, so that's good.
Yeah.
That's reassuring.
You would look like Mrs. Claus.
I mean, she looks really happy.
Of course she is. She's married to Santa.
I mean, I feel like you'd have access to like all the best gifts in the world.
I have a theory that the reason Santa is so rich and is able to pay for all this is because he's licensed out his image. You have to every time anyone mentions or Santa or shows a picture of Santa, he gets like a quarter. Like it's some sort of great big merchandising sort of thing. Like he gets the royalties every time Santa's even mentioned.
I feel like Coke probably owes him
a lot
of money.
They were the ones who came up with the. They didn't invent Santa, but they came up with the modernized look of him. They the one came up with the red coat with the white lining. Because it looks like the Coke is red. The logo is red and white. So.
Well, there you go.
I'm apparently full of fun facts according to people at work.
It's true. I mean, you are. I feel like you'd also be good at. I always thought you would be good at. What do you call it?
Jeopardy.
Yeah, like some kind of trivia or.
I mean, it'd have to be trivia that I care about. If it's like
dinosaurs.
Yeah, or space or some sort of other things. I don't know, but like if it was like name the Kardashians, I'm like.
Where do you start?
Kimberly. Colonia.
Colonia. Anything with a K. I feel like there's like 20
Christopher.
Right now. Like right? There's like.
Is there any guys?
Maybe?
I mean, other than Kanye? Why are we talking about this? Christmas!
Spaghetti. Forgive the spaghetti.
Yes, exactly.
You spilled the spaghetti.
It's everywhere. I think, basically what I was saying earlier was like, in order to write like a sort of a good holiday sort of story, I think you gotta have a lot of emotion to it.
Mm-hmm.
I also think it's really funny when there's like, I know like a lot of shows have like very special episodes at Christmas. We're talking about that with Phineas and Ferb. I think it's funny when it's like something that like you wouldn't expect. Like CSI Miami. Or something. Especially, it'd be even funnier if it's like revealed that Santa is real in one of these things, like this place with horrible murder, and then like ho ho ho, and then Santa flies off, and like great, now stop the murder down there, please. We got a pedophile on the loose on this.
Like Law and Order SVU, and it's like always serious, and then it's like dun dun, and then like
who ate the milk and cookies?
I feel like it'd be perfect to just spoof. I mean, really, like.
Well, there's a lot of good Christmas sort of spoofs like that, like just. Again, talking about like making fun of the whole idea of it, because sometimes people can get really far with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I just picture like with the Law and Order SVU specifically, every time they do that dun dun, like Santa pops up and like ho ho.
And he had this little ho play because he probably has OCD. He has to be 3.
True.
Ho ho ho.
I feel like that'd be perfect, but I mean, the emotion is definitely something that has to be there. I think for me, in order for something to be successful in my eyes, I do want to see some kind of humor.
Right. I love humor.
Like somebody messing up or something just, not going right and,
I mean, yeah, of course.
So.
That's pretty humorous. But also it's a good drama as well. Like, but like, I don't know, like I like humor myself though as well. Like I love writing humor. Like even as serious as my stories get, there's always humor in it. But I always think that makes the serious moments work better, in my opinion, because it's a good contrast. I think, was it Shakespeare that said you can't have tragedy without comedy? And I 100% agree with that. So,
yeah.
The story you have is like depressing all the time through. It doesn't, you kind of grow tired of it.
Well, just the
like
juxtaposition, of it, it makes it more intense. So.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I like to go for in some of my writing as well. So, can I talk about, like, is there anything else you wanted to say that we didn't mention?
I don't know. Anything else that you wanted to mention?
Look
at Jake.
Yeah, hi Jake. He's waving again. He's not waving again. He's smiling.
So he's kind of giving me.
He looks like the Keebler elf.
He looks like the Grinch.
We do the finger thing. Yeah, there we go. Like looking down with the camera pointed up to make him look even more intimidating. Oh yeah, like that. Oh, that looks like you're doing the Hitler mustache.
Yeah.
Like stroking your Hitler mustache.
I feel like the Grinch is Hitler's distant cousin.
No, Grinch is too nice.
I mean, he grew. His heart grew.
His heart grew 3 sizes, remember? Hitler's shrank a lot.
Exactly. That's why I said distant.
Well, I mean, we're all distant cousins of Hitler. That's the thing. You know, again, in this very special Christmas episode, we're talking about Hitler. But you know, the thing about Hitler, and like whenever there's like a terrible person in history, people like to distance themselves. Be like, oh, he was just a monster. Oh, he was not. Unfortunately, we have to own up to the fact that he was human in like anything like that in the future. You know, if we can own up to the fact that he was a very real human and not like some sort of supernatural monster, it's probably the way we have to deal with it.
Well, I think that might be what I love about the Grinch is that even though he is like this monster and he's this fictional
he's literally a
character,
monster. He's like green and has this weird sort of look to him.
But that is real people. Like we're like that ourselves. Like we just admitted earlier.
There's a movie coming out of the Grinch next year. It's another anime movie. It's by the same guys who made Despicable Me, so it's probably not gonna be that great. But but I mean, it could be. Okay, fine. I just hate the minions.
From someone who has been a minion.
That's it. Oh, okay. I love the minions. I think they're so great. Nah, okay, fine. I'm not ashamed of it, but you know, it's fine. You can like the minions if you want. I don't know. Anyways, there's gonna be a movie next year about the Grinch, and Benedict Cumberbatch is the voice, and I think that's perfect casting.
Oh yeah, that'll be lovely.
Yeah, I mean,
that would be lovely.
That would be lovely. I mean, he was, in terms of his voice acting work, he sounded menacing as that dragon in The Hobbit. So.
Oh, was that him?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So probably he won't be that intense, but.
Yeah, I mean, but Jim Carrey. I mean,
that's true.
I can't un-Grinch the Jim Carrey voice as the Grinch.
Yeah. I mean, maybe, I don't know. But like in the anime movie, the anime short for the Grinch, it was Boris Karloff.
Was it really?
Yeah. Maybe he was the narrator, so maybe it wasn't the Grinch. But I feel like maybe the Grinch was the narrator. But just for you, those don't listeners, he was a big horror movie guy in like the 50s and such. Yeah, he was like the original Dracula, I think.
Yeah.
Benedict Cumberbatch would also be a good Dracula.
He'd be good at anything. I mean, let's be real.
I mean, he wouldn't be good at. I don't think he'd be a good Santa.
I feel like he would find a way to make it work.
He probably would, but I think there's better choices.
True.
He'd be a good. I mean, I love Benedict Cumberbatch. I don't know why I'm saying this, but he'd be a good Krampus or Krampus.
Oh yeah.
The one like the Germanic Christmas demon that like instead of getting lump of coal, he gets sent to hell for being a naughty kid.
Which is something. I mean, we haven't definitely talked on that at all. I mean, I'm not sure if you want to.
We could. I don't know.
Chat about that.
We could. What? The various Christmas legends or what?
Yeah, I feel like that'd be kind of fun.
Okay, sure. Well, one thing. A lot of the origins from Santa come from Norse mythology. Actually, like Odin was the original Santa. Like, and the idea of leaving milk and cookies out actually came from a pagan myth about the Norse gods, where you'd leave carrots out for Odin to feed to his horse Sleipnir. So that's pretty good. Of course, Yuletide, right? That's all.
Right.
It's all. There's a lot of pagan stuff, and then the Christians were like, I mean, and we say this as like people, you know, who practice that. Like, but,
I mean, that's where I think a lot of people get kind of really territorial about like, Christianity, and it's like just admit that we all like. You know, kind of not necessarily stole, but adopted.
Right.
You know, a lot of these traditions that I'm glad we did because they're really fun.
Mm-hmm. Well, I do really like the Methodist church that I'm a part of. Like, I was about to say the name there again, but I don't want to leave out too many personal details. But that's
actually how we met, by the way.
Oh, yes, of course. That's how we met, yes, at a Sunday school class.
We were the only people that nobody else talked to.
Yep.
So I guess
we kind of gravitate towards each other. That's how it works. But what was I going to say? So, they flat out said that like a lot of Christmas traditions come from pagan traditions.
Yeah, which is great. I mean, I like that they're open and truthful about it and not trying to hide it.
Right, exactly.
You know, it's like, well, let's just be open.
Yeah, they told us that, you know, that if Jesus was born, which, you know, based on Roman historical texts, he would have been born like closer to the summer or spring or even fall, just not December 25th. They don't think that was his actual birthday. But they mentioned this was like from a pagan tradition, like Saturnalia, I think. Mm-hmm. It was picked because it's really close to the winter solstice. Mm-hmm. So therefore, that's when the days get longer. So we were like, hey, that sounds good. For the Son of God, he comes down, and then the days get longer because the light of God is upon us. I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
Well, if you think about it, if you're like the PR person for early Christianity, let's just hypothetically say that that's the way that this went down.
Oh, yeah, the PR person with the turban, probably, because it's Middle East.
Like, it's smart PR if you just go into a territory and you're like, hey, looks like you've got these traditions in your religion. Why don't we just make that a part of what we do?
Well, that's what the Romans did.
And it kind of works. It's
Well,
like weirdly smart.
Well, yeah. Well, I get that's like what the Romans did. Yeah, because like that's why a lot of the Roman gods seem very similar to the Greek gods because they conquered the Greeks and then they're like, hey, we like this.
I mean, why not take the stuff that you like?
Right. That's better than trying to conquer someone and say, hey, you have to follow what we do.
But it's kind of like this. It becomes kind of a weird, like buffet, I guess, style religion.
Well, yeah, because like
I definitely don't object to, but it is definitely odd.
Well, like, where did the idea of a tree come from? I assume that's also Saturnalia, right?
I mean, I know about
Excuse
the
you, Jake, by the way.
log.
Because you heard that. Yeah, the Yuletide log, that's right.
But the entire tree, I'm not really sure. We should have had my dad come in as a guest star, too, because he knows all about this.
Well, because if it was based off, like Jesus, it would have been a palm tree, wouldn't it?
That's probably accurate.
It wouldn't have been a pine tree.
Oh, no. Mm-mm. But, I mean...
Can I interject?
Yeah, sure. What do you got, fact checker, Jake?
In my extensive knowledge as a preschool teacher.
That's what makes him qualified for the show,
Oh, yeah,
apparently.
absolutely. Oh, he's also kind of sick, by the way.
Yeah, that's me coughing. And it's my holiday cheer. The evergreen tree was actually, it's a Germanic, when they conquered the Gauls and the Germanic tribes, they had to incorporate their religious beliefs. And so they used the evergreen tree and they had that as a part of it. But the main reason is because Prince Albert was a German prince at the time, and his wife was one of the queens from England. And he had the evergreen tree in his castle, in his home, and he put candles on it. And then all the people in the neighborhood are like, I want to be just like the prince. I want to be that cool.
Nice.
So that's where people started bringing the trees into their homes. Just to be like the prince.
Thank the royals for it.
Well, nice.
Tut tut. Although I guess it'd be whatever it would be in German.
Da.
Da.
That's Russian, isn't it? Da is yes in Russian.
Nine.
No. That is German. Yeah, there we go.
Jawohl.
Well, with that, we've got our questions answered. Look at that.
Yeah, exactly. You should come in every episode, even the ones where Christina's not here.
Hey.
I mean, that's fine.
We come as a matched pair.
It's
Sorry.
true. You're very inseparable. But no, I like what you're saying. How it's like this weird kind of like a spaghetti, if you will, like of all the Christmas just become this amalgamation of all these different things to become this unique sort of thing.
Yeah, and some people like a little more garlic, and some people like a little red sauce or white sauce or different types of spaghetti. So, you can make it kind of what you want, which is awesome.
And the fact that like it's now such a commercial holiday also helps too. But yes, it has its origins in Christianity and it's become everyone's holiday. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know if any of the other holidays like Hanukkah or Kwanzaa have as much of a mainstream appeal. I mean, Kwanzaa's more not religious, but it's a cultural thing. But like
to
Hanukkah,
my understanding, I might be wrong.
I mean, yeah, exactly. I don't know. I can't really speak too much of this, but Christmas is definitely much more mainstream amongst people, like even atheists, right? Who like it's such a big sort of thing, and that's kind of beautiful in a way. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to discredit the other ones, of course not, but like.
I love Jewish holidays personally.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, like a blast.
Yeah.
But
I love the idea of the menorah. I think those are fun.
Oh yeah.
In my movie or my story I want to write about the war against Christmas, I think would be kind of funny if one of the things, even though it's not Christmas related, is a menorah flamethrower.
Oh, that'd be
it'd be kind of sacrilegious.
Sacrilegious, yes, but
also... that'd work in the R-rated version. That would be directed by Matthew Vaughn of Kingsman fame. Right? Like, wait, what's this doing here? Well, I guess we'll use it anyways.
I could see it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how many people you may or may not offend, but I think that's part of the joy of things.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
as long as I offend everyone equally. So I have, like, well, someone could be like, why are we fighting all? This is Christmas. Christmas is all of idea. Christmas is all about, like, love and celebration. But Christmas is also celebrating the birth of Jesus. Oh, it's about Christianity? Oh, then I guess I can see why there's all this fighting going about, right? Something like that. That'd be pretty offensive and joke. But I think it'd be kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, nothing is unblemished.
I feel like that's why that's sort of what South Park does, or whatever. Those kind of shows, where, like, you can get away with offending people if you offend everyone equally. There's no...
I'm kind of an equal opportunity offender.
Right.
I'm pro that, for sure.
Right, exactly. Jake, who do you like to offend? Who do you discriminate against?
Anyone willing participants.
Good answer. All right, well, I think it's probably good on this Christmas episode about writing, sort of. But...
I feel like we definitely got into more of the movie holiday type of thing.
I mean, we talked a little bit about stories in general, though. Yeah, okay, we didn't talk about Christmas Carol, did we?
We didn't talk about Christmas carols at all.
Yeah.
Which is definitely
or just the
writing.
the movie, or not the movie, the story, the Christmas Carol is what I meant.
Oh, yes. I thought you meant actual, like, Christmas carols.
That's one thing I don't like about Christmas. Why is it the same 6 songs or whatever?
And I was just thinking about this earlier today because Jake and I were listening to Christmas music because I'm finally in the holiday spirit.
Right.
Within the 7 days before Christmas.
Right, that's when you have your week of Christmas, and then after that's over.
Why are not more new Christmas songs written, and the ones that are kind of blow?
Right, exactly. I've listened to a few of them. My dad is listening to like a Christmas sort of DJ thing on the radio every now and then. Well, not the radio, he streams it from the internet. That's what we do nowadays. But yeah, like there's actually a lot of Christmas songs out there that aren't the traditional ones, but they're not good, or I guess they're just not well known.
Like, is there not money to be made with Christmas music? Because I think there would be a lot of money to be made with Christmas music, because not only if you write a song for Christmas, is it going to be, if it's a good song, if it's popular, it will last for a very long time. People will continue to play it, like you said, infinitely. Right. I mean, it's
at work at
ad
one point.
nauseum.
Exactly. No, at work, someone had a slow jazz version of Jingle Bells. I'm like, this does not work. This is a song that needs to have a fast tempo. Come on. Yeah, like, what are you doing? Get it together.
But I've wondered about that same thing. Why, I think that's a challenge then maybe to us, that we need to write an original Christmas song, although we definitely have to get Matt David in on this because he's our music guy.
Yeah, I can't do tunes.
Me neither. I can sing.
I can't sing. And even that one episode I did last week where I had this that sort of Christmas spoof song, that was just me talking in like a sort of a lilting sort of voice, but I wasn't really singing.
I would consider it close enough to singing to count.
Well, it's like what Buddy the Elf says. Like, singing isn't different from talking. All you have to do is like raise or lower your voice every once in a while. Just
some people do talk like
I'm singing. I'm standing in front of people and I'm singing, and I'm not ashamed because I love to sing. What is it he says out? And then of course Zooey Deschanel is just like, really get me out of here.
I mean, I feel like it's fair. If you're a girl, you're just going to be embarrassed by a guy at some point in your life.
It's true. As a guy, I can vouch for this.
So, I mean, with the Christmas Carol, to get an actual story, the Christmas Carol.
Yeah. Well, I was bringing up to this to her, like, in terms of, like, cynicism, like, Scrooge is, like, he's kind of like the antithesis of the Grinch. He's all about the materialistic parts of, like, everything, and not about the emotional stuff at all whatsoever until the end. I
mean, but it's emotional because he is such a, like, bad guy.
Right.
I mean, he evokes that emotion in other people.
Right,
reaction.
Exactly.
So...
Well, but, like, in terms of the story itself, Charles Dickens wrote it for a quick buck, I found out. Like, he didn't really like it. He just did it for the money. He considered... Yeah, exactly. And it worked. Like, it's his most successful work. Like, but it's also really good work. It's one of those works that, like, is good by accident, almost. Because... Which
kind of begs the question, do you... To me, as a writer, I've always wanted to write something because I like it, or I'm writing it for a certain audience. So, do you...
I think you should do a balance. Like, you should absolutely write what you want to write, unless you just want to completely sell out. And if you do want to do that, can't stop you.
For you as a writer audience, like, do you... And you can always, I think they can reply to you, can't they?
Oh, yeah, they can send us emails. We'll talk about that and how to contact us at the end.
I mean, what do you do? Do you write for yourself? Do you write for a particular audience? Are you writing to make money? Because I think if you're writing to make money, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there's a whole marketing team for every company that writes to make money.
Right, so, exactly.
It depends on how you want to have your creative outlet.
Yeah, I think it's good to strive for a balance. Like... I don't know, but I think you should first and foremost write for yourself. But if you want to be successful financially, then you have to consider that at the very least. You can't just write what you want to write only and then expect it to be the next Harry Potter. You got to work for it. So you got to find a balance sort of way.
I mean, but where is that line? I guess begs the question.
Well, because my book Megazoic, right? It's a very weird book. It's not really like. I've always said I kind of want to be the kind of author that other people rip off from, not to be an author that I rip off from other people. Right. Despite me having a section of this podcast called "What Will We Rip Off From This Month," but we usually say that more as a joke. But one of the things is like I always tried to ensure people who didn't know all these different dinosaur species could still read it and still understand what was going on, still get the plot, and still know the characters without having to look up all the species. And thus far, that seems to have worked. Like I've gotten, even though I use like weird species because I don't like to kind of stick to the stock dinosaurs a lot. I like to kind of mix it up. But I always kind of show people, like, even if they don't know the species, that this character is the small one, this guy's the spiky one, this guy's kind of the big burly one, and I kind of just keep reminding people of that. And then, of course, I say the species a lot, too, but you don't have to know that. I kind of remind them every once in a while that their place amongst everyone else in terms of dinosaur-wise, so And that's why this story is a good Christmas story. I don't Again, the spaghetti thing, isn't it? Yeah. That's okay.
I mean, I think, for me, I think it depends on the person. Right. You know, whether you would write for it to be, you know, quote, successful, to try to make something publishable. Right. But, I mean, I think knowing your audience has always been one of the most important things I learned through my education.
You have to have a demographic. And I talk about this in my talk up at UNC, but you have to pick a demographic and stick to it. Like, you can go for beyond the demographic too, but you can't say your demographic is everyone, or you say your demographic is just this really big thing. It's good to narrow it down. Right. It will go beyond that if the story's good, but like...
There's nothing that everybody likes.
Well, yeah, plus, but in terms of marketing, like, successful marketing means you have to have a specific demographic that you're going for. In terms of Megazoic, it's 12 to 18-year-olds. Like, probably more often boys than girls, but... Yeah. And sci-fi people, like that kind of, like, fun sort of fiction, sci-fi fantasy sort of group. Between 12 and 18. That's my demographic.
But definitely, you know, things get popular enough and they do...
transcend that demographic. Yeah, exactly. The periphery demographic is what it's called.
Which I think kind of is Christmas, like you said earlier.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like, it started was just religious and now it's, like, so mainstream, so...
Yeah. Yep. I think that's what a lot of us strive for in our writing, is something that maybe is going towards a certain audience and then permeates into... cross-cultural, you know.
I mean, that'd be cool, wouldn't it? I mean, like, I used My Little Pony as an example. That shows demographic. The new one, well, all of them, but the new one was the big one to go beyond it for some reason. But its demographic's always been young girls. And then for this new show, it got super popular amongst a lot of people. I mean, it helped that it was also a really well-written show, and there was, like, a lot of good character stuff to it, too. But it got so big. Eventually, it probably got to a point where, like, it just got big because of the internet, you know, and people wound up jumping on the bandwagon. But it had to start from somewhere. But yeah, like, that definitely transcended its original
But on audience. That note, like, do you think an author could... I don't feel like you could, but, like, what are your thoughts on, like, whether an author could actually, like, leverage the internet to become more popular? Of course, that's a realistic thing that somebody could do, but, like, how would somebody
You have to do that carefully, because the internet is very good about picking up on if that's what you're doing. Like, that's why no memes are intentional. Like, you cannot force a meme. Like, a lot of times if, like, there's something a lot of people want to quote or whatever constantly, you can't do it on purpose.
I mean... Can you?
I mean, you can, I guess, but, like, I don't know. Like, there's some jokes I have in my book that I feel like would be good memes. I'm not going to say which ones, because then the internet will be on it.
They'll be on it. There will be a meme on it next, like, tomorrow.
Right, exactly. Or they'll immediately make sure it's never a meme, because I said I want it to be a meme. And they're like, nope, we refuse. So...
I mean, I could make it a meme.
Okay. If you want to, I guess. Get on that. Put it on knowyourmeme.com and whatever. But, like, yeah, no, like... Yeah, like, I think the internet's very good about picking up on that. Like, that's why I kind of like the Emoji Movie. That movie that came out earlier this year. The most materialistic, capitalistic movie of all. Like, no heart in it whatsoever. It's just money. And the internet caught on that very quickly. One of the things they try to do, this makes sense why they try to do this for advertising. They try to make memes. Like, they try to force memes and, like, put it on, like, certain websites to try and get the movie publicity. It worked in terms of publicity, but it didn't work to getting people to see it. Like, it worked in that people knew what it was, but that didn't mean anyone wanted to see it.
But then how was Coke so effective then in making the whole Santa Claus thing?
Sometimes an idea just strikes lightning. Like, and I don't know.
I mean, that just worked, I guess.
Yeah, I just don't think you should ever intentionally strive to be a big success. I mean, unless, of course, you want to, but I don't know. Do whatever you want, listeners.
I'm just trying to, like, pick it apart, like, as a phenomenon. Like, how does that work? And is that something you want to do? I mean, it really just depends. I think there's nothing wrong with being ambitious.
There's nothing wrong with being ambitious, but it's also you gotta be realistic, though.
Sure.
Like, everyone, like, kind of jokes about being the next J.K. Rowling, but no, I don't think anyone's ever gonna be the next J.K. Rowling, just because that was such a big, like, lightning.
I mean, you have a theme park.
Yeah.
I mean, after your book. I mean...
I'd love a Megazoic theme park, but I know that's never going to happen.
I mean, but also you've got to consider the times. I mean, like, going back to Charles Dickens, I mean, his book was extremely successful. They've made movies, it's lasted
There's
way
been
beyond
so many movies.
You know, his legacy has lived on well beyond him. I mean...
It's also really short, too, so, like, I wonder if, like, there's been more adaptations of it than there are words in the story. That'd be interesting. Even if there's, like, 50,000 words... Like, in this kind of, like, movie adaptations, TV adaptations, just individual plays, there could be.
Or even mentioning of it.
Yeah, you know? like Boy Meets World, that classic 90s sitcom, they read that every Christmas a lot, so that could count.
Yeah.
Or just every time someone says "bah humbug." That's a meme now, I guess. That would be a meme if that came out nowadays.
It would, yeah. I mean, it's just interesting.
The Muppet version.
Oh, that's my favorite.
With Michael Caine as Scrooge.
That's my absolute favorite.
Right. Well, yeah.
Who doesn't? I mean, again, who doesn't?
I've never
like
seen
the
that
Muppets?
one.
You haven't seen it?
No. I guess we have to go watch it now.
Okay,
don't we?
we're
Be right
on
back,
that.
listeners.
I think we've got it on VHS somewhere.
Oh, do you have a VHS player?
No.
Oh, well, get on that. Maybe get one of those fancy devices that convert VHSs to DVD somehow. I think it's possible. I don't know how.
I think even those are outdated now because they just converted to a DVD and I don't know.
I don't know, but like in case people want an old tape that they have that they recorded with the tape recorder and they want to make it a DVD, they still want to watch it.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you still need a VHS player of some sort, though.
I feel like a lot of the stuff that may have been video recorded of me on the VHS maybe should stay unviewed.
I don't know, possibly. Maybe.
It's that awkward childhood phase that you go through.
There's this one, we made a movie when I was a kid, me and my sisters, and it's the most cringeworthy thing. And I'm sure we're gonna. My sister made a DVD. Why would she do that? It's but I'm sure we're gonna have to watch it all the time. Like if they ever make an actual movie, they're probably gonna show this, and I'm like, please no. Like, oh look at his humble beginnings.
Find it and burn it.
I'm going to find it, and there's only one copy of it as far as I know, so it shouldn't be hard. Like, just put it in the shredder. Never again.
I mean, everybody's been there, you know.
Yeah.
We've all got it. That one picture or...
That one awkward Christmas sweater or Christmas photo or whatever, the ugly sweater.
I feel like it's best to just accept it.
Yeah.
Just accept it.
Yeah. Well, like, that's what I do. I make a lot of self-deprecating jokes, but it actually kind of helps my self-esteem. Because if I get to a point where I can joke about myself, I'm more comfortable with myself. So, that's kind of how I feel, and I don't know.
I typically do other deprecating humor at my husband, directed at my husband. People.
Jay?
But thankfully he's okay with it.
Sorry, that was probably a bit too far.
Wasn't loud enough.
Wasn't loud enough.
That's more like it.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, I think that pretty much covers like pretty much everything we could possibly talk about in terms of writing and Christmas and like how we sort of feel as well and what the idea of the holiday is, I guess. So, thank you for joining us. Oh wow, this is actually long enough to be an actual episode. So much for a mini episode. Hold on. Oh, actually, edit this in. Welcome, fellow nerds, to another episode of the Writ. This one, a surprise one. I'll just edit this in later.
Surprise, there's a girl on the show again.
Yep, and also another guy who's coughing up a storm back there. No, that's right.
2 guest stars instead of 1.
Yeah, exactly. Although you're
Merry
just...
Christmas.
Yeah.
Seems you'd be editing me out a lot.
No, I think I'll add in some of your comments. They're pretty great. And people will know that you're in the background because your voice will be fainter.
Yeah.
True.
They'll be like, who is that strange man?
Listen very closely.
He's strange and not, well, he's not a
Are you Krampus?
Krampus.
Is it Krampus or Krampus?
I think it's Krampus.
I just don't like to see the word cramp.
Well, you could say Krampus, but Krampus.
I don't want to say crappy. No, I love the word crap. I'm all about that crap.
Scrooge, Grinch, Krampus, Crumpus.
I don't think Krampus is a thing.
Maybe it is Krampus. Oh, Trumpus. Trumpus.
Krampus,
Weird, they all
Trumpus.
have that same ring
Krampus.
to them.
It's true. Every villain, like what was that one Harry Potter? Dolores Umbridge.
It's the,
Just a U.
Umbridge.
It's just a negative thing. Ugh.
Ugh. Well, Grinch doesn't have a U. But has the
Sauron.
Grinch. Well, having words that begin with more are also pretty scary. Mordor, Morgana. There's a biological villain named Morbuzak.
That's why I didn't like Mr. Moorhead.
That explains it all.
It does. One of my childhood friends' name is Morgan. I know she's evil. I just know it. Nah, she's fine.
Well, with that, we wish you a happy every holiday.
All holidays matter, don't they? Merry Christmas. Again, this will be out on December 25th, so Merry Christmas.
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Kwanzaa.
Happy a few days after the solstice.
Yeah. Merry Yuletide. What are we missing?
St. Lucia Day. And
Boxing Day.
Festivus for the rest of us.
Yep.
And above all, happy Decemberween to all of you.
Yes. My favorite.
That's what that movie, Night Before Christmas, is. It's a Decemberween movie.
Or is it a Hallosember?
Ooh. A Hallowmas.
Well, I feel like we'll let the writing nerds have fun with that one.
Oh, of course.
Let us know what your mashup of those two words is.
So this is the part of the show where I talk about where people can get a hold of us. You can get a hold of me, listeners, at mattd@matthewdonaldcreator.com. You can use your own email system or the one on the website. You want to give out your stuff? They're probably more interested in your stuff, Jake, just because you have all the facts, right? Nah, that's fine. You can talk about it.
I feel like insert some pro-woman phrase right here.
I don't know. I'm really bad.
Are you saying that women don't know facts?
No, of course you know facts.
That's true. I actually don't know very many facts.
I mean, but that's not because you're a woman.
Well, thank you. I hadn't really thought about how you can get a hold of me. I'm very difficult to get a hold of. So
we usually just do emails is what we do, like on this one, because we don't want to do phone numbers. I don't want to get random calls from strangers. I mean, I love you guys, listeners, but...
I mean, I kind of feel like if I gave out my phone number, that might be entertaining to see what I get back.
I can't stop you.
It could be a good social experiment.
I can't stop you. Do whatever you want, I guess.
Well, you can always reach me. I guess best way would be at Facebook. My name is certainly unique.
Christina Eilert, E-I-L-E-T R-T. I'll put it up.
See,
it'll be on the description.
Even my best friend can't spell it, so I mean,
it'll be on the description. So
have fun with that. You can certainly get in contact with me that way.
How can I get a hold of you, Jake? To ask you all sorts of questions about why pine trees are Christmas trees.
If you try to get a hold of me, that's helpless. I can barely get a hold of myself.
He's mysterious. He'll wander off into the woods, and we'll never see him again
that
until
might actually happen.
Until he pops up again whenever he chooses to.
It's like a holiday person.
You're like a unicorn.
You just have to wait till I appear again.
I only am where I'm needed, and right now I'm needed elsewhere.
Jake just flew away, by the way.
Whoa! All right, thank you guys for listening. Oh, you can reach me on my Twitter at MatthewDon64. Why 64? I usually come up with a joke for this answer. Come up with a joke for me, guys.
Nintendo 64.
That's what everyone says. That's exactly what Alan said last episode.
I don't really know what else you're supposed to say.
The Commodore 64.
There was a Commodore 64.
That just dates
The
me.
thing that's creepy is that Matt was actually born in 1964, and I'm just kidding.
I actually made that joke once. When I said I was 53 years old.
Or 1864. Ooh. He's secretly a vampire.
Ooh. Well, I was going to say I killed Abraham Lincoln, but that means I did when I was a year old. I was a very murderous baby.
I feel like that could be a book.
I whispered in John Wilkes Booth's ear, kill Lincoln right after the play.
I mean, if you want to continue down the whole math thing, 64 is 8 times 8. Oh my God.
I made this joke before, too.
You're 8 squared. You're 8 squared.
I am 8 squared.
Or 6 plus 4, you're 10. You're perfect. It's a good number.
I am perfect.
Or
I'm a perfect 10.
2 to the 6th power.
What does that mean? What's the
2
significance?
times 2 times 2 times 2.
To the 6th power?
Yeah.
I hate math.
I hate math. Clearly, we've got 2 writers in the room and a math person.
I have a shirt that says, I'm an English major, you do the math. It's very applicable, I say.
But if you like math, we still love you.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know.
With
of course we do.
I feel like we come back to the point that we made earlier today, which is, of course, that Matt and I both being, well, really everyone in this room being somewhat feminine.
Oh, yeah.
And
I'm
they
pretty
can accept
feminine.
this. We could go on and on forever, but thank you for listening.
Of course, thank you so much for listening.
Thank you for having me as your guest host.
No problem. Let me know if you want to do it again sometime.
Absolutely.
I mean, maybe we'll get Matt Seibert in. He'll be in next episode, I swear, listeners. You'll get to hear that big boisterous laugh next time.
Just like Santa.
We should do a laugh montage. Jake, laugh like Matt Seibert.
Oh my God, I don't even know how to do it like him.
He always has like a... like you have to like some sort of weird build up. That sounds creepy. Okay, this is when Matt Seibert's gonna be a supervillain, not David. Sorry, guys.
Or I don't think we've mentioned this in this episode, but I refer to him because I have a lot of Matts that have been in my life. We'll let this cat out the bag that I refer to Matt as Greg.
Yes.
So this Matt Donald is of
Bob.
course Bob.
Bob and Greg.
Bob and Greg, my friends. Just to keep them straight.
The 2 Matts, Matt Donald and Matt David.
Yep, that's been an inside joke for a few years now.
Right.
Because when I refer to people like Jake knows both Matts, we have to make some differentiation between the two of them.
We are known by many names here in the podcast. Matt and Matt, Bob and Greg, Donald and David, Seibert and Hall.
But to name me by the naming rules of the show,
You're Lee.
I am Christina Lee. However, there may be another Christina Lee.
Yeah, there's another Christina.
Spoiler in the future.
Yeah, exactly. There's another Christina who's interested in doing a Kes Toaster. I'm so popular.
You're just too popular.
I'm a published author. All right, we've talked about this too long. Thank you for listening, listeners, and have a good holiday thing. Don't get too drunk on New Year's.
Or do.
Or, yeah.
Just don't die.
Yeah, that's the important thing. Or do. It's up to you.
I mean, it'll fund the funeral home.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
The